Good evening, everyone. Myself, Mamta Thakkar, Health and Wellness Club in charge of the school. Feeling at cloud nine, hosting this webinar by God's grace. And of course, by the grace of my mentor, my inspiration, my guide, Director of the school, Shri Bibi Gupta sir, and Principal of the school, Mr. Vivid Gupta sir. As we all know that COVID-19 pandemic may be stressful for people, fear and anxiety about a new disease and what could happen can be overwhelming and cause strong emotions in adults and children. Even public health across such Even public health actions such as social distancing can make people feel isolated and lonely and can again increase stress and anxiety. So keeping all these points in mind, we are here to discuss about mental well-being, a rising concern during COVID-19. We are indeed proud to have amongst us Mrs. Bharti Munjal ma'am as moderator who will discuss about the theme mental well-being, a rising concern during COVID-19 with our student panelists and our wonderful audience. Let me introduce you all to Bharti Munjal ma'am. She is associated with Art of Living Foundation for the last 22 years. Art of living itself means meditation, spirituality, and yoga. She is working as a volunteer teacher for a stress-free and violence-free society. She teaches happiness programs, the backbone of which is Sudarshan Kriya, a rhythmic breathing technique which is practiced by millions of people across 152 countries. Women's Club that comes under the banner of Art of Living, in which social projects like tree plantation, awareness against plastic, food and nutrition are taken up. That comes also under the leadership of Bharti Munjal ma'am. And she never misses a chance to sing in divine gatherings because she has this God-gifted talent of singing. Occupation-wise, she is a well-reputed teacher in a prestigious institution of Hisar city. So whatever she is doing for the society, for the nation, and for the mankind, that is no less than a meditation. I must say, she's a wonderful teacher, preacher, singer, and yoga enthusiast. So I welcome Bharti Munjal ma'am, our student panelist and our wonderful audience. Now I request Bharti ma'am to please take over the lead for further discussion starting from introduction of our student panelist. Thank you all. Over to you ma'am.
So, very good evening to everybody present here, and thank you Mamta ma'am for such an elaborate introduction of mine. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Vivid Gupta ji, the principal, and the coordinator ma'am, Ms. Swati ji, and of course Mamta ma'am, to you. I deepest gratitude to everybody to give me this opportunity to interact with the youth of this nation. It's indeed a great pleasure. Thank you so much. So let us start this discussion with the introduction of our panelist students. So I would request all the students to start with their introduction one by one.
Mental fitness is when we can listen ourselves through our hearts. A very good evening to one and all present here. This is Khushbu from 9th Standard, and I'm very glad that I have been selected here as a student panelist. My hobbies is to play football, but as since in the lockdown I'm not able to do that, so I have coped up with drawing and reading. Thank you.
A healthy mind resides in a healthy body. Among many global health, economic, and societal disruptions, the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak has forced millions to physically isolate. Combine that with extensive news coverage on the pandemic and its unknown future, it's no doubt to wonder that the anxiety is on the rise. Good evening to one and all present here. Today, I, Vibhuti Bhardwaj of Class 9, feeling grateful to be a part of this webinar. Topic, mental well-being being a rising concern during COVID-19, and feeling glad to be a part of this webinar as a student panelist. Thank you.
The beauty of life does not depend on how happy you are, but how happy others can be because of you. Good evening, respected guest of honor, Mrs. Bharti Munjal ma'am, Principal Sir, teachers, and my fellow friends. I express my appreciation to Sir and teachers to grant me this golden chance to become a student panelist and convey my views on mental well-being, a rising concern during COVID-19. It's my pleasure to introduce myself. I am Mishanvi, learning at Bal Bahu Public School. Currently, I'm in class 10, and my strong point is my outlook that I like to take challenges, that I can do it no matter how tough it might be. Thank you.
Yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, and to the self. A very good evening to everyone present here, and my heartiest greetings to the spokesperson of this webinar, Bharti Munjal ma'am. This is Adhin Raj from 10th standard, and my association with yoga and meditation is from past 3 years, as I have been playing cricket professionally since the similar time. Being a panelist for this enthusiastic webinar is a great achievement for me, and thus I will be looking forward to share my views on the same. Thank you.
Mental health is not a destination, but a process. It's about how you drive, not where you're going. A very warm greetings to all. My name is Samiksha and I'm currently in 11th grade. I'm passionate about volleyball, but since we are in this lockdown and I'm not able to cope up with that, I've started adopting myself to indoor exercises, in which my sports teachers have also helped me a lot. And I'm deeply grateful to all my teachers who have given me this golden opportunity to be a part of this fruitful panel discussion. Thank you.
Greetings everybody. I, Chavi of class 11th, feels honored and obliged to be a part of this webinar. During this lockdown period, mental and physical health has become a serious concern in the society, and meditation and yoga unlocks a part to it. I do yoga for keeping myself physically and mentally fit and convince you all for the same. Thank you.
It is an odd paradox that a society which can now speak openly and unabashedly about topics that were once unspeakable still remains largely silent when it comes to mental illness. My heartful greetings to our guest of the day, Mrs. Bharti Munjal ma'am, our principal sir, our fellow teachers and my fellow attendees. Myself, Neha Maheshwari, a student of grade 12. Firstly, I am grateful to my teachers for the opportunity of letting me be a panelist on this webinar and letting me speak my views on the arising need of mental well-being during this pandemic. It is truly an honor. I personally admire being able to spend more qualitative time focusing on my hobbies. I mesmerize reading novels and have been working on write-ups and poetry for 2 years now, and this lockdown has given me the time to start with writing lyrics. Yoga and meditation do maintain a big role in our lives, as well as helping out your mother during lockdown. It could really make her happy as well as be a medium for you to work out. Thank you.
It's up to you today to start making healthy choices, not choices that are just healthy for your body, but healthy for your mind. Mental health is an integral part of our health. Indeed, there is no health without mental health. Greetings to all. I am Isha from 12th grade and I'm obliged to my school for providing me this amazing opportunity to be a student panelist in this informative webinar. Thank you.
Yeah. So it was really nice hearing about you. So let us all begin with the conversation. So the topic of today's webinar is mental well-being, a rising concern during COVID-19. So let's talk about, first of all, what do you mean by mental well-being? What do you understand by this term? And how has it been affected during this pandemic? So I would like Isha and Khushbu to just throw light on this term, mental well-being.
Mental health is behavioral and social well-being of a person. What I think, like, it is all related how you do cognitive things and how you socially interact. It all depends on the mental health. And right now we all are panicking over this dreadful virus and negative news coming from all around the world, which is giving to rise anxiety and stress among people, which is related to mental health, of course. Also, for many of us, being confined to our home is challenges due to lack of social mingling. And in this situation, meditation and yoga comes to rescue us, and it also helps in enhancing our mental health.
I think that mental well-being is something when we have peace in us. We have very calm mind inside our body in which we can think about taking any step. We can think very freely, very calmly. We can talk to others very calmly. We can listen to them as well. But I think in this pandemic, everyone is distressed as very much is thinking that if we committed a single mistake, it can lead to a big disaster for our family and our surroundings. So I think it has been a very distressed surrounding. So we should practice yoga and meditation again so that we can be calm and have inner peace inside us. Thank you.
It was great listening to you, and you are. But if everything is going good, so everybody happy. Anyone can be happy, but when something is not good, something is not happening, wanted to happen, and if then we go and it's good, then we can say that we are not mentally. If we can cope up with the negative situations in our life, then we can say, yes, we are mentally healthy. This is called mental well-being, a state of equanimity. When you are happy, then also you are happy. When the things are not, then also you can maintain that equanimous state of mind. That is being mentally healthy. And no doubt that this pandemic has really affected our lives socially, physically, emotionally, financially. Every aspect of our life has been affected by this COVID-19. And yes, I agree with you that to maintain a state of equanimity, we really require to practice some of the techniques which can relax our mind, which can bring us to a stable condition. Okay, so all of you are talking about your yoga, meditation, other spiritual practices. So let's talk about what is yoga. What do you understand its significance during this pandemic? So I would like Ishanvi and Vibhuti to speak upon this.
So I think that yoga is a gift from an ancient Indian tradition. It, unites our body and mind, the thought and the action. and it brings the harmony between the man and the nature. It is not about the exercise, but it is to discover the sense of one's body, the world, and the nature. So I think that yoga is very necessary during this time because yoga helps to calm our body. It helps to find our inner peace, and thus it is really necessary during this time as people nowadays became depressed and anxious and they became restless. So I think that doing yoga during this time is really necessary.
I think that yoga is a type of exercise in which your body moves into various positions in order to become more fit or flexible or to improve your breathing and relax your mind. I think, as added, that yoga is a gift from ancient India. Yes, I agree with this point, as yoga is basically a type of thing which keeps your mind stress free. As we are seeing now during the COVID-19, the environment has led many of the people anxiety and stressed. So in this case, yoga plays a crucial role in our lives. So I advise one to practice yoga each day so that his or her mind could be fit and healthy.
Yeah, very nice, children. See, yoga is a way of Atha Yoga Anushasanam. This is one of the definitions of yoga. Yoga is a discipline, self-discipline. See, means somebody ruling ourselves on ourselves. We decide the rules of our life. So it is a self-discipline. Okay, and yoga karmasu, which brings skills in your life, which give you power to live fullest possible. Okay, so yoga includes your social behavior. How do you behave socially? It includes your personal code of conduct. It includes, as you said, physical asanas. It's just a part of yoga. It includes meditation. So it covers all the aspects of our life. We don't only live at body level. There are more other dimensions to our living. Okay. See, our body is living because we have breath. We are breathing. That is why our body is alive. So breath is the second dimension of our life. And third dimension is the mind through which we perceive this world. And mind uses the five senses to perceive this world. So if we don't have breath, if we don't have mind, body alone cannot do anything. So when the body, the mind and the breath, they become one. They become one. That is yoga. Normally what happens when suppose you are in a classroom, your body is in the classroom, but your mind is somewhere in the, maybe in the mobile, maybe in the movie or the pizza. And you are not aware of your breath. So what is happening? You are not giving your 100%. So you are not living your life to its fullest. But when your body, when your breath and your mind, they come together, then yoga happens. Yes? Okay. So I said like you're using this term meditation time and again. So let's talk about meditation. What do you understand by meditation? And how does it help in overcoming the stress and anxiety during this lockdown period? I would like Chavi and Sneha to speak upon this.
Yes, Kushbu. Meditation is a very powerful tool that can help us to calm our nervous system, to reduce stress, and to improve our focus. It is a
Ma'am, I think meditation is a practice in which we usually focus on a particular object or maybe a thought that comes into our mind and we start focusing on that. And I guess it is important in lockdown because everyone is stuck in their homes and people are getting anxious or nervous. They feel like they are very disturbed and negative thoughts are coming into their minds. So I guess in this situation, meditation is very good for them. They should practice that because not only keeps our mind calm but also helps us to stay fit mentally and physically.
Ma'am, firstly, I would like to say that people tend to believe that yoga and meditation are the same thing, but in reality, meditation is a part of yoga. And secondly, I think yoga is, sorry, I think meditation is a medium, a process for us to try to control our mind in such a way that it generates positive thoughts. It's about focusing your energy into your mind so that you can generate calm, you can be calm, you can work on your stress and anxiety problems, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to add something to it. You're very near to the definition of meditation, the understanding of meditation. See, as we sleep, we give, but we never think of giving rest to our mind. Our mind is working 24/7 for us. Meditation is the resting of mind, when the mind goes to rest. But at the same time, the mind is awake. The body is awake also. We are not sleeping, but we are giving rest to our mind. That is meditation. And my dear children, meditation is not focus. Meditation is not concentration on anything. Meditation is deconcentration. Okay. जब सब चीजों से ध्यान हट गया, ध्यान, okay. So the result of meditation is concentration. The result of meditation is focus. So what you get after meditation is a calm and connected state of mind. So if the mind is calm and connected, don't you feel it will lead to wise decisions? Can we take better decisions? Can we stay calm during this situation of lockdown if we meditate properly? If we give rest to our mind, if the mind is not agitated? So this is the significance of meditation during this period. I would request everybody listening here, start doing some kind of meditation. If you don't know, if you are the beginner, just start focusing upon your breath. Sit for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, close your eyes and just focus upon your breath. Just become aware of your breath. And you will see, you will find there's a lot of change between the state of mind earlier and after the meditation. Right? Okay. So let's talk about something about this lockdown. So what are the good things, positive aspects that you can see about the lockdown? Can you see something positive? So I would like Adhyan and Samiksha to talk about this thing.
Ma'am, in my personal opinion, talking about this lockdown in a positive and optimistic manner, ma'am, the main thing which it did in this lockdown is that the healing of environment is being done. The people have started to see the nature, observe the nature, because this nature was quite, and people quite underrated it and not looked to it in the way they should have. But in this lockdown, as people were alone, they were in their house, they have observed the environment and its belongings. Ma'am, talking to my second positive aspect about this lockdown is that people have started spending time with their family and not with their mobile phone. Ma'am, people have left their privacy and started to believe that the main thing, the main problem with themselves they get rid of it by talking to their family only. The family plays a large role in getting rid of any kind of anxiety or depression issues with people, as they share their emotions, their feelings, and everything which they want by talking only. So people have learned the importance of people only in their life, which is, in my opinion, a very great aspect that came out in this lockdown.
Very nice.
Mom, if I shared my opinions on this thought, I think there are many positive aspects about this lockdown. As according to me, I was earlier not able to spend time with my parents, and now I'm able to do so, which is, I guess, the most positive thing about this lockdown. And also there is one thing that before this lockdown, I was eating so much junk food because I was going out and eating street food all the time. But since now we are at home and we are not supposed to eat the outside food because it can cause us, or we can catch virus from that. So it is also helping me in eating a bit healthier. And I agree with Adhyan also that it has also helped us in improving the environment. Thank you.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Even I would like to add something what I have seen positive. First of all, as Adhyan said, the environment has become really very clean due to this lockdown. And personally, I feel that every year for 15 days, this lockdown should be there for everybody, prepared. You know, we can just have this lockdown every year for few days so that the nature also rests. It also resumes, because we are giving a lot of pressure on nature as human beings. We think that we are the kings of this nature. We can use all the resources as we want. So this is the first thing which I would appreciate about it. Talked about it. And what I feel that people were running and running and running. So they just during this lockdown, they really want to spend time together and with their kids, which they were not able to. So during this lockdown period, they have spent their lot of time with their kids, with the elderly people at home. And people have become more creative also during this lockdown period. Even I am, if I talk about myself personally, I am a school teacher, so I was not getting time to have to create something nice in my life. I am taking art of living courses also. So for the last few months, I was not able to because of my busy schedule. So I conducted online programs. I learned so many new things. I learned new technology, and I learned so many new dishes, new cooking techniques during this period. So yes, of course, this is painful that the people are suffering, but still we can see some positive thing during this lockdown period, and it has really helped people to increase their efficiency, increase their creativity. Okay, so, okay, what do you feel the youth of today is interested in yoga or other spiritual practices? If not, what are the possible reasons for this disinterest? And what is the solution? So I would like Isha and Khushbu to throw some light on this.
I think the reason why yoga isn't appealing to youth is that they don't find it cool enough, to practice. They would rather prefer doing Zumba over yoga because it's more trendy and it sounds cool. Also, sometimes I have noticed, and I also heard from my friends, that in their school, yoga is forcefully imposed on them. And it somewhere leaves a negative impact because we are making them do it without their will. And something which is imposed forcefully, its effects never last longer. So we have to convince them by explaining its benefit to them or just by giving them some time to adapt it. Thank you.
I will not include all the youths, but yeah, a large percentage of youths is not willing to practice yoga. And I actually agree with Aisha because I think that yoga is something very ancient, very tradition, and I think today's youth is not able to practice yoga because they actually don't find it cool. And I think that in today's world, I think social media has also been attracted the youth towards it because they are mainly used to spend time on social media during this lockdown. Even they are not willing to spend time with their parents and even on exercises like Zumba and all. So I think social media has played a very effective role to attract them towards them and just away them from the yoga and meditation.
Yeah, you're very right. But I believe that youth of today is smart enough to understand what is right, what is wrong for them. No, I think the youth of today, they want to grow, they want to be successful, they want to learn new things. But the thing is, we have to present something new to them in a very, very, tempting package. The packing material should be very nice for them. I think, do you all agree with me? You can show me your thumbs like this.
Yes, ma'am.
So, with time, we need to change the way of teaching. You just make it cool as Zumba and other spiritual practices. But I tell you that I have seen youth practicing yoga and meditation, and they have really come up with with so much of energy, enthusiasm, and success in their lives, right? So here I would like to I would address the parents and teachers also to become role models for the children. If we start practicing yoga, meditation, definitely they will get interest into, they will be benefited with all these spiritual techniques. These techniques are not new, these are very ancient, time tested techniques. Okay, so we cannot let them go. This is the knowledge of India, which India has given to the whole world. So we cannot let go this knowledge like this. I would request all the teachers, all the curriculum planners to add yoga as a subject, as a compulsory subject, but in a very different manners. Okay. So next, I would like Samiksha and Vibhuti to speak upon. Do you think lack of moral values, respect, and belongingness has increased in our society? So can you suggest some ways to bring them back?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I think the lack of moral values and belongingness has increased in our society. And I think so this is because the youth of today is generally all the time on their phone, and there are some content on social media which are full of violence. So this also leads somewhere in decreasing of their moral values. And I think there can be numerous ways for bringing these things back. Like schools can initiate very numerous programs in which children can be taught about value education, how important the moral values are today in the life of youth.
Yes, I think the same, that the youth today has left the belongingness, has some lower down the belongingness and have disobeyed their parents. Basically, they argue with their parents on such silly issues because they majorly like just their time on social media rather than just talking to their parents. They like to consume their time on social media accounts, and they didn't even think that what they are doing today, and they are also not able to, and they also not know the environment, the society, what's happening now. Just they will do whatever they want, as just Samiksha Didi has done the point that that there should be some webinars and workshops that should be organized. I strongly agree with this point, so as to tell them that they are doing something wrong. I think we should tell them by arranging some webinars or workshops in their school so that they could learn the importance of moral values in their life.
Very true, very true. I agree with you, my dear children. You're absolutely right. I would like to add here that see, the same, was a word. But now if we see, everybody is running in a mad race. I don't know for what. We want happiness in our life, but as in growing in technology, the happiness has gone back. What do you say? No. And here comes the role of belongingness in a society. We need to inculcate these habits of caring, of sharing, taking responsibility of each other. Today we run from the responsibilities. But I tell you, when you take responsibility, you become strong. You become, nature empowers you when you take some responsibility. So from now, make it a point in your life, take small responsibilities in your life, and you will feel that your belongingness will increase. This is a formula. Responsibility increases belongingness, and belongingness increases the power to take responsibility in life. Okay, now let's talk about something very important, that is food. All of you will agree with me that food habits these days they are declining. What do you say? People prefer going to the restaurants. They like fast food. So do you think food really affects our physical, mental, emotional? I would like Ishanvi and Shavi.
I do agree that food really affects our mental, physical, and spiritual and emotional health. Like when we eat the food, it releases the energy and nutrients stored in the food for our body to absorb. And whenever body assimilates the food, it uh, it it brings the energy, and the forces of the food interact with the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. And these determine our health and the quality of our life. And I would like to say this quote, which is, healthy mind resides in a healthy body. Thank you.
I guess if we talk about food related with the spiritual life and emotional life, if we not go like in a scientific way, yes, I also agree at some point, because food really affects our physical life. We all know that we work out and we need to eat food a lot. And for emotional life, I guess, yes, in that aspect also, it affects us, as when we eat our favorite food, we feel happy. And when there is made something like green vegetables, or made something of like these things, then people does not eat it because they does not feel happy, they does not feel it tasty. And I guess that's why it is very important that it should be focused that you are eating healthy food as well as the junk food in a particular manner and particular quantity.
Bharti ma'am, you are unmuted. Unmute yourself, you are muted.
Sumit sir, can you help Bharti ma'am unmute? She's not able to do it.
Bharti ma'am, you are unmuted. You are muted, ma'am.
Sumit sir,
yes,
can you do
yes,
it
now,
from your
yes,
end?
yes.
Yeah,
now
great.
you are
Thank you.
muted.
Thank you. You can speak, ma'am. Bharti ma'am, are you there? We are not able to listen to you.
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Am I audible now?
Absolutely,
Am I
ma'am. You can
audible?
go ahead.
I don't know what is happening to my system. Yeah. So I was saying the food which is good for your tongue is not good for your stomach. So we need to think before eating what we are eating and why we are eating. We eat to stay healthy, right? So in this case, I would like to add there are three kinds of food: the sattvic food, the rajasic food, and the tamasic food. Sattvic food is which gives us lots of energy. It increases our prana level. It increases our life force energy, like fresh food, salads, light spicy food, all these kinds of food, juices, vegetables, all this. Then comes the Rajasic food. So Rajasic food, you want it increases our energy level. And then comes the tamasic food, which includes the stale food, the fast food, the processed food, the canned and body does not digest this kind of food. It just in our system, in our body. It does not need energy, rather it sucks the energy from our body. That is why we feel very lazy, we feel lethargic, we feel feel less of enthusiasm in our life when we are dependent more on this kind of food. It should be eating to stay healthy and physically. Okay, so now would you like to do some breathing techniques and pranayam, some meditation? What do you say?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Sure.
Yeah. So let us all sit straight, spine erect, and we are going to do one pranayam which is called the Bhastrika pranayam.
Yeah,
which
Bharti
gives
ma'am,
us
before you start this, can we request the participants in the audience also to try it out at their places while they are listening to this?
Yes, definitely. That's what I said. All of you, please be ready for this pranayam. So what you need to do is just sit straight at your place. If you are sitting on the chair, then also just make your spine erect. If you are sitting on floor, then just sit in a Sukhasana and make your spine erect. Okay. So this is an instant energy giving pranayam. When you are feeling low, less of energy, you can just do this pranayam and you will feel fresh. You will feel a lot of energy rising in your body. So what is the position? You will make a loose fist like this and just place in front of your shoulders. Right? So what we are going to do, as we inhale, we will inhale forcefully and our hands go up and we open the fist. And as we exhale forcefully, we come down and we take the position. So when I say 1, you will come back forcefully. Am I clear? So should we start? Okay, just close your eyes. Keep a good smile on your face. Take a normal breath in and breathe out. Relax your shoulder and forcefully together we will breathe. Breathe in. In 3. In 4. In 5. In 6. In 7. In 8. In 9. In 10. In 11. In 12. In 30. In 40. In 15. Keep your eyes closed. Relax yourself. Keep your hands on your knees, your palms facing the sky. Relax. And just feel the flow of energy in each and every cell of your body. Keep your eyes closed, keep smiling and keep breathing. One more time, let's take this position again. Loose fist in front of your shoulders. Take a normal deep breath in. And as you breathe out, relax your body. Now forcefully, we will breathe in. 1. In 2. In 3. In 4. In 5. In 6. In 7. In 8. In 9. In 10. In 11. In 12. In 13. in 14, in 15. Relax your body. Keep your hands down on your knees. Just become aware of the sensations of the energy arising in your body. Keep breathing. Okay, last time, last round. Again, take the positions. With a big smile, take a deep, long breath in. And slowly breathe out. Now, forcefully together, breathe in. 1, in 2, in 3, in 4, in 5, in 6, in 7, in 8, in 9, in 10, in 11, in 12, in 30, in 40, in 15. Relax, keep your eyes closed, keep smiling and keep breathing. Become aware of your body, of the sensations, of the rising energy levels in your body. Relax your body, loosen your shoulders, but keep your spine erect. And become aware of all the sounds in your surroundings. Maybe the sound of fan, the sound of AC, the sound of some birds chirping outside. And accept all the sounds in your environment. Relax. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your body. Our body is a precious gift to us by nature. Our body is made up of trillions of cells working together in coordination. Honor your body, respect your body. Become aware of your right foot, right knee, right thigh, and right hip. Breathe in and become aware of your left foot, left knee, left thigh, left hip. As you breathe in, take your attention on your navel region, your abdomen, navel, stomach. Breathe in, take your attention on your chest, right shoulder and right arm, left shoulder, left arm, your neck region. Breathe in and take your attention to your beautiful face. Top of your head and whole body. Whole body. Become aware of your breath. The breath is moving in and out of your body. Every incoming breath is giving us energy. Breathe in and feel the energy. And every outgoing breath is relaxing our body. Breathe out and relax. Feel the relaxation. Breathe in. Something expands in our body. Breathe out. Something is contracting in our body. Now become aware of the thoughts arising in your mind. Good thoughts or bad thoughts. Don't judge them. Just look at them as thoughts only. Don't stop. Just let go. Let go your thoughts. Breathe in and breathe out. Now gently become aware of your emotions, of your feelings. Whether good feelings or bad feelings. Don't judge. Just look at them as feelings. Don't stop. Let go. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, relax more and more. Relax your body. Be aware of your thoughts and your feelings. You are peace. You are love. You are joy. आप ही प्रेम है, शांति है और आनंद है. ओम असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय. ओम शांति शांति शांति. Take a deep breath in. Become aware of your body and your surroundings. And slowly and gently, you may open your eyes. So, how are you feeling? You can show me your thumbs. If you're feeling good, if you're not feeling good, you can do like this also. It's okay. Okay, great. So this is something called breathing techniques. Our breath and our mind, they are interlinked, they are connected. So if you want to work upon your mind, you start working upon your breath, right? When we are angry, our breath pattern changes. When we are sad, our breath pattern changes. When we are ill, the breath pattern is different. So now what is happening? Our mind is changing our breath, but you can do its reverse also. You can use your breath to change the state of your mind. This is meditation. That is why we feel so good when we connect breath with mind. Now I hand over to Mamta ma'am.
It's rightly said that best and beautiful things are never touched or never seen. It's been felt by heart. That's what I have felt in this webinar, in this session, that the beautiful things, beautiful exercises and beautiful meditation that is being taught by Bharti ma'am to us in this webinar, and I have never felt, so much energetic before in this lockdown period. This is my first time in this lockdown period that I have felt energetic, and I hope all of my students and all of my wonderful audience, they have liked it. Now, Bharti ma'am, there are some of the questions I would like to put from our audience side. The one of the question is, one boy is asking, ma'am, I'm very short-tempered and my memory is not that good. Would you please suggest something for me?
Yes. And just now I said that our breath and our mind, they are linked together. See, when you are angry, you must have observed your breath. Your breath becomes faster when you are angry, isn't it? So you start working upon your breath, you will see in a good amount of time, in a less amount of time, you will be more aware of your thoughts, of your emotions, and you will be able to control your emotions also. If you start practicing pranayams, if you start meditating, then surely you will overcome this. And for concentration also, I would recommend you start meditating. The result of meditation is concentration, focus. Nobody can stop you to concentrate if you meditate regularly. Okay?
Right, ma'am. There is one more question from actually there are a number of questions to be asked from our audience side, but I think our student panelists, they have answered them wonderfully. They have enough knowledge about the theme. They have learned from you, and they are loaded with number of thoughts. So the question which I felt that is very important to discuss here, that is, a child is saying, at any stage of life, if one is suffering from depression or psychological unbalanced, what he or she is supposed to do?
Yeah. So I would suggest you 2-3 things. First, start sharing things with people whom you love, whom you trust. Start sharing. You know, depression comes when we stop, when we make a wall of iron around ourselves, an unseen wall. So open up. People around you love you, have this trust in yourself. Your parents, your brother, your sister, your friends, your teachers, all of them love you a lot. So start sharing. Secondly, start meditating. Okay, meditation really helps in increasing the energy level. So why does depression happen? When the energy goes down. So start working upon your food habits, Start working upon some yogic practices, some asanas, meditation. Okay. And most important, start thinking big. No, if you want to if your mind holds on to some little problems, shift your mind to bigger problems. What will happen to the ozone layer of this earth? What will happen if all the trees are cut down? Okay, if you think on bigger problems, you will realize that your problems are very small. And believe in some power that is always with you. Some divine power is always with you, which is taking care of you. Believe in that power. Okay? So I think if you do all these things, you will definitely overcome this thing very soon, very quickly.
Thank you so much, Bharti ma'am. I think it's a very enlightening session with you and our children and everybody in the audience. They have learned number of things from this session, and we should always train our mind to see good in everything. We should be always positive and we should be always smiling. So with this note, I would like to invite our Honorable Principal Sir to deliver the vote of thanks. Thank you.
So am I visible, Sumit sir? If you could confirm, I'll start. Yeah, thank you.
Sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Mamta ma'am, for inviting me to propose the vote of thanks for this enriching session. Greetings and good evening to everybody, all the participants and the audience. So, I would want to start with a quote. Mental health is not a destination, but a process. It's about how you drive, not where you are going. And I think today's session, the meditation session that ma'am had carried out, clearly elaborates on the lines that I have just mentioned. And certainly the pandemic has caused a lot of threats to our mental health, but it depends on our perception to derive the positive and move ahead. And that's the crux that we have come and concluded in today's session. I sincerely thank Ms. Bharti Munjal ma'am for sparing out time to be here with us this evening and sharing her valuable thoughts on the theme mental well-being, a rising concern during COVID-19. Ma'am, I'm sure that both the audience and the students panelists have been benefited with your wide experience. Especially the meditation that we did gave moment to all of us to stop and reflect on our thoughts in the race of completing and achieving tasks that we are performing. I congratulate all my dear students panelists for successfully grabbing the opportunity and confidently expressing their views on this platform. I was really amazed with the way you have responded to the questions and the queries that the audience have put up. I sincerely wish that with this experience, you spread your wings and fly high to achieve the zenith. I take this opportunity to thank our mentor and guide, Shri B.B. Gupta ji, Director of the school, for always leading us to achieve the best. Sir, under your guidance and mentorship, all of us are shining bright. Thank you, sir, for your continued support. I also extend a heartfelt thanks to Mrs. Kavita Mehrotra, Headmistress, and all the coordinators for supporting the cause of furthering the education to students. I recognize the contribution of my team members, Mrs. Mamta Thakkar, in charge of Health and Wellness Club, Ms. Rehna, Ms. Deepti Sareen, Ms. Shweta, Mrs. Jatinder Kaur, Ms. Sakshi, Mr. Manish Rawat, Mr. Pramod, Mr. Pradeep Rawat, and last but not the least, Mr. Sumit Diwan for all his technical support for making this webinar a successful one. I do acknowledge that due to some technical issues, there were disruptions in the session, but still I assume that the participants have had an enriching experience. I appreciate the sincere efforts that all my wonderful teachers have put in to make this session a successful one. as we know that no successful session is possible without audience and their contribution. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our lovely audience for their valuable questions and being present to attend this webinar. We hope to see you on the other side next week with yet another enriching session. Until then, goodbye, take care, stay indoors and stay safe. Signing off, this is Vivid Gupta, Principal, Bal Bhavan Public School, Mayur Vihar, Delhi. Thank you, everybody.